It's the Power Trip After Party Podcast, presented by Evans Transportation.
Boom.
Hi, Lisa.
Now we're here. Hi, Lisa.
Good morning, everybody. It is great to see you all, even though it is a bit dark in the studio. I won't judge you for having the wrong lighting, but it is awesome to be in the ears of your lovely listeners this morning.
Well, everybody just wants to be able to see you, and you look beautiful as always, and the view behind you looks spectacular. What is June 22nd like in New York City?
Well, you know, ironically, it's supposed to rain today and it's been window washing week. And I was hoping that we were going to catch the guys doing the window washing, because I always like reach out and open one of my windows and chat with them, ask whether they want waters. Like it's a death defying job. And I'm always fascinated by anybody that wants to be suspended by cables all day long cleaning windows.
Wait, you just said window washing week?
Yes. It
So
takes
it
about
doesn't-
3 weeks to complete the building.
Oh, wow.
Holy wow. Again, we won't say anything about any building or what your view is or where you're at, anything like that. But having worked a little bit in a relatively tall building here in the state of Minnesota at one point, on a really windy day, you could feel the building move back and forth. In your apartment, can you feel the building move a little bit sometimes?
So what's really cool about this building is it's got a unique shape and there's vents in between each unit. So the wind actually goes and weaves in between the building. So though we don't sway like I've been in buildings in this city where it does really sway and it is nauseating. It feels like an earthquake, but we don't sway, but you hear the wind. When I first moved in, I remember like, what is that noise? I'm like, oh, you'll get used to it. Now I don't even hear it. But when I have guests, they do. Like, they're like, what is that? I'm like, it's the wind going through. And it's so neat how it just kind of pushes through each individual unit. And it gives a little bit of a buffer for that. But I do have to have weights on my patio furniture because you don't want that to blow over and, take somebody out.
Yeah.
No, that'd be horrible.
Yeah, I can see that.
That'd be a terrible way to go.
Yeah.
You get killed by a wicker furniture.
Yeah. It'd be a terrible way to take someone out. I mean, I feel just as bad for the person who's responsible for the furniture. I mean, it's an awful thing, but there's a mystery today. I'd like to see if any of you in studio can help me solve.
Go. Perfect.
So, there's a Twitter thing that I just retweeted from your timeline so everybody knows that we're live.
Mhm.
That same timeline doesn't follow me. So the mystery is why.
Oh, my. Corey?
Oh, the Power Trip account does not follow you? We can
do that right.
solve
I
that
don't know.
mystery
That's
pretty
I mean,
quickly.
What in the hell?
What is going on?
Power
we're
Trip does
falling
not
apart.
follow Lisa.
Yeah. We have hard enough time doing a radio show, let alone all the stuff we should be doing.
And done.
Okay, good. Now that makes more
Mystery
sense.
I'm
solved.
glad that mystery was easily solved.
Yeah.
Done.
I thought you were going to say something like, there's a murder, and we all had to figure it out.
I wanted to figure out
Yeah.
clues and ask questions. Hey, look at Zach.
Hey,
Found a
look
ring
at
light.
Zach.
Jesus. Hey.
Whoa, Zach. I was
Yeah.
going to blame Zach on the not following
Well, you
me
put it
thing,
right
right?
there.
I thought,
Yeah, that would have been Zach's
and now
fault.
he's gonna stand with the light the entire show, which is fascinating.
And I'm guessing you're going to be wishing that you couldn't see us again here pretty quick, because the spring got away from me.
Lisa, speaking of lighting, in your old profession, did you ever have people that were they had to do the lighting and were just like, man, you're too into what we're doing on set, you might need to leave? Have people ever been kicked off a set for maybe just being weirdos?
Not lighting people, because believe me, the more they were working at the lighting, the better I felt I was going to look. I was more upset when they would have stationary lighting and then the guy would go out and be reading the paper in his car. And I'm like, buddy, get back in here and, light me better. But, what we did have sometimes was people would rent their homes and they would want to stay on set, and kind of watch all day. And I would always say to the producer, or when I was scouting homes for my own production company, I would say, hey, you can stay on set, but I'm not paying for your location. So it's one or the other. You either get paid or you enjoy the show. I mean, it's common business, right? You don't get to see a movie for free. So the way I looked at it was that, and I would always say, because it was just weird. Why would you want to sit there? And I get why you want to sit there, but we just were actually working, and it made us more nervous because you don't want to spill lube on somebody's couch while they're watching.
Yeah,
you want to be able to
spill
do it
lube on
when
your
they're
own
not
couch.
there, and then try and get it steam cleaned somehow before they get back. Things do happen. So it made it easier for all of us when they weren't there.
How many people took you up on that deal just to not take the money and just stay?
Nobody. Nobody,
Yeah.
because everybody wants their money. A lot of people in LA pay their mortgage that way. They can rent their home 5 days a month, pay all their bills, and then not have to worry about anything else. And the smart homeowners would use their garage to store the actual furniture that we would shoot on. It was usually like that really good pleather that's easily wiped off. And they would have a moving crew come in and move all of the furniture that's theirs out into the garage and the other stuff onto set for us, which I truly appreciated. Because again, you don't want to ruin someone else's stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. So, we haven't talked to you in a while. You are the adventurer out doing things, traveling the world and such like that. But and following you on Twitter and such like that, I haven't seen a whole lot of travels. Have you been too busy to do traveling lately?
I've been traveling a ton. So I went to Orlando last weekend to do a signing at a Dave and Buster's.
Oh,
But the problem is, where else did I go? I went to St. Louis.
Whoa,
I've been
hang on.
back and forth to LA.
Stop there for a second, because that's fascinating. Dave and Buster's? Like,
So yeah, they have, they rent private conference rooms. So like these
okay,
oh
these
yeah.
these
that makes more
guys that
sense.
that have like trading shows for like wrestlers and everything else. I kind of fit into that.
Sure. Yeah.
So I get to do those events. I've been traveling a bit, but traveling this summer is not really that fun if anybody's done it.
Ugh,
It's not a lie what they're telling us on the news with like 4,000 delays and
Yeah.
cancellations. So I have a rooftop pool at my building. So I really do choose to stay here and have all of my friends come and stay. So I've been having guests whenever I'm not traveling. I've been having guests come and stay for the weekend. We just lay out on the roof the whole day and I just kind of work my summer tan.
Do you bring security to that? Do they provide that, or do you bring your own?
I don't trust anybody. So I bring my
Yeah.
own security to everything that I do. I will be going to Miami July 15th through 17th for Exotica, and I have 3 people coming with me for that show. So yeah, I always bring my own security. I sometimes have the security that I travel with through the airport. It all depends on like if I'm able to fly out first thing in the morning, like the 6 a.m. flight, I seem to be okay. But if I fly out anytime after 11, I'm just, everyone's always asking for photos or taking pictures of me when I'm walking or like creeping on me. So I have to have somebody like buffering all of that.
hmm.
Yeah.
See, we need a local establishment to book you after listening to this, and then you can come to Minneapolis, do the morning show, and get paid from somebody else, right?
This is a
Because
great idea.
we
Yeah.
don't have enough
We don't
money.
even,
We're not
we don't
going to
have
pay
a,
you,
we don't have a light.
right?
Yeah, we can't even
Exactly.
afford a real
Zach's
light.
holding up this thing in the corner. It looks awful. But if
Yeah.
somebody else locally here can pay you, then we both win.
I think this is a great idea. I mean, I hosted clubs. I have my book. I could do a book signing. Local businesses. This is a
Yep.
message to you. I will bring you business. There will be people in the door to meet me, and you will make money, and it'll be worth it. And then I'll stay a couple extra days and hang out with you guys.
That would be very cool. And of course, you have not one but 2 books now. How's the second book doing for you?
Second book is doing really well. It's exciting because it's more of a cover to cover read. My friends that have picked it up have said I couldn't put it down, and I made it a shorter read, hopefully about 4 hours of time to get through it. When I look at my other book and I see that this one's like half the size, I just got better, experience of working with people like you guys and radio. I just got better at telling stories in a more concise package, right? You learn to speak in segments
Mhm.
instead of rambling. And so I just feel like this one is so much better. It starts out, it's a real thrill seeker at the beginning. Everybody needs to be ready for that. And it makes it hard to close it because you know that I'm alive, but at the same time, you want to keep reading to know how I survived.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean that's a fascinating idea, a fascinating part of your story as well, because we all know through talking to you on the show a couple of times all the things you've been through and such like that, but also know that you are consistently looking for your next thing as well. And as somebody who follows you on Twitter and follows a lot of the same kind of ideals that you have about just putting out the good things in the universe and such like that. How is how's the world treating you over the last couple of months since we last talked to you? Are everything still going in the right direction for you?
Everything's going great. And I realize when you say that about Twitter, maybe it's because I post more of my travels on Instagram, which is also the real Lisa Ann. And before I
Oh,
forget, I'm offering free shipping for the summer on my book at my store, shoplisaann.com. Just enter code summer 2022 at checkout. Life is great. This is my first full year of being completely independent.
Mm.
So last year I was still half the year with Sirius, finishing up with Sirius. I was still working with Bovada. And I decided that I was going to do my own thing for a year, where this year I'll be hosting my IG lives at the half on Thursday nights and Monday Night Football and doing my sports betting picks, all of that myself. So whether it be YouTube Live, Instagram Live, and it's been really neat. Like I'm really into both my podcasts. Dudes Do Better allows me to really get back in touch with the industry. I'm getting to meet a lot of performers I've never met before, young starlets that are just so cool and excited to speak with me. We get a little time after we record for them to like ask me any questions they want to know. I get to kind of grind them about, what are you doing with your money? What are your future plans? How are you taking care of yourself? How's your family situation? Like I get to really be present. So it's been really cool to lean in there. And then the Lisa Ann experience, if you get a chance to listen to this week, I tell the story of what happened in Orlando and why I will not be going to Nashville next month, which was another Dave & Buster's.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
Oh,
I empowered a room. I empowered a room of women who were unaware of what was about to take place with
Oh God.
the autograph guy who I know very well. And I had everything detailed and I had a little contract set up and I get paid when I arrive, but I knew what they were going to be in store for. So I kind of prepped them and it was like a mass exodus. These wrestlers and UFC fighters, like they could kill him. So like, I left the show and I was the meme of the girl that her face is there and the house is burning down behind her.
Yeah.
And it was so satisfying.
Wow.
Man, it went that south that fast.
Just people try to take advantage of, young talent. And no matter what walk of life they are, people assume that young people don't know. And maybe they don't know, but it's up to us. Anybody who's been there, done that. It's up to us to really empower with knowledge, right? It's up to us to take the time and say, hey, do you know your worth? Do you know how much you're signing here? I don't want to know what you're getting paid, but if you divided the math between this, what are you comfortable with? Don't oversign things. Have you looked at this person's site to see what they sell your stuff for? Are you aware when you sign for somebody of going to their site, looking at their pricing, seeing what your signature is worth and all of that? I just think there's been years where people just go and do their own thing. And I think it's really been fun for me to be the opposite and just meet everybody and say, hey, what's up? How are you dealing with this process? Have you worked with other people like this? And what do you know about him?
You're like the Yoda of porn stars. Like you're just there to protect all of them.
Yes. And wrestlers and UFC
Sure.
fighters and mainly women, right? I mean, I'd help men, but it's just this really relatable thing that though I'm double their age, they still see me as kind of a peer. They know I've had a lot of life experience and it would just be selfish of me to go over there and stand there and make my money and not be able to prepare them for the future because all the mistakes I made, there's no reason to let other people make them if I can just share my story and say, hey, this will make things easier for you moving forward.
Yeah, there's probably in that line of work, there's probably a lot of people just looking to not sexually, but just looking to take advantage of people financially and everything else. And it's probably a good thing you were there.
Yeah, it was great. And I made a lot of new friends.
Hey,
So life has been great.
That's great.
Speaking of empowering women and another topic you like, the NFL, I don't think we've had you on since the Deshaun Watson saga the last couple of months has really taken another step or two up with a lot of these ladies coming forward. What's your just general take on some of the comments of the gals and now even the settlements?
I think more than anything, I'm most shocked at the NFL, right? Now, we do understand that he went through 2 trials. Both juries did not convict. I don't love how this came about, how it went on Instagram and social media first without police reports being filed. I think what happened is we've got so much information in front of us that a decision really has to be made. Yesterday, he settles a large portion of the cases, not all, but a large portion. But when you go back 3 months ago, he got the largest quarterback contract in NFL history. Like, did anyone think about this before this, right? I don't think it's a great look for the NFL to prop someone up with that much money. I also don't think it's great for any player or any person who's dealing with a situation like this for everybody to know how much money they're worth, right? Because now it's like, oh, this guy has a ton of money. We should just be able to get a huge settlement. And it's just been, I think, the craziest thing we've seen so far in the NFL. It's like we've gotten so much information, but we don't really know the facts. It is very odd that any athlete would ever book a massage therapist from Instagram. Because obviously you're looking at photos, you know what I mean? Like you're not looking at technique. It's not like it's just hands with the person massaging in all of their reels. And you're like, oh, that looks like a really good massage therapist. Yeah, I like the rock therapy, this person. So that's bizarre. But It's not too long ago that we had a NFL owner that was going to a specific spa 2 times in one day. Like, we've seen so many things be kind of brushed under the carpet, but this is a bad look for the NFL. It's bad all the way around. I just wish that people would file things properly, keep things more guarded so that the legal process could be handled properly, right? When you start putting things out on social media, it really causes the opinion of the masses to cloud what our vision really is of these stories. And, the most professional thing to do for any woman is to be guarded with information and go to the right people and make sure you're filing all of the paperwork in a timely fashion and make sure that you are going to stand up for yourself and do the right thing, but don't let it get clouded by the opinion of others by putting it out in a public forum like that.
Yeah, and I also think that with what you just said is right. I also think the other completely fucked up part about it is Cleveland gave him a $1 million contract this year. So if he was suspended, he'd only lose that money. I think I mean, and they've done the whole bit where, well, we've looked at everything that we should look at, but then you purposely sign him to a $1 million base salary. So if he gets suspended for a year, like a lot of people think he will, that's all he loses. That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's a bad look for Cleveland. Look, if you were going to work it out with Baker Mayfield or not, and by the way, I totally forgot we could fucking swear on here. It made me so happy.
Yeah. Swear away. Yeah.
Gosh, I love it. It's also like now it's so awkward, right? Baker doesn't want to be there. Baker is insulted. You gave this guy so much money. He's still dealing with this legal stuff. We don't think Baker's going to stay. What are they going to do at camp? Who is going to be training with it? Really makes that team. And look, Cleveland has a great open season schedule. I'll be taking their defense, but as for their other pieces, I think I'll ride their defense up until the bye weeks hit. But as for their other pieces, I just feel like there's so much uncertainty. We let this chaos affect an entire team over one person. The NFL should have made a better decision last year. This should have been probably worked out a little bit closer than more information coming out, but it's not a good look for anybody. And what's $1 million to him at this point?
No, it doesn't matter. No, correct.
Do you know Gronk? You ever met him?
I've crossed paths with him. Actually, I was at an event years ago when he was working with 50 Cent for this vodka company, right? So it's at this event at this club in New York City, and the security walks me in. It's one of these clubs that's just like packed and everyone's smoking. And I'm like, this is where I die. It's a total fire hazard in here, right? And so I see 50 on stage. He's performing. So I'm like, how am I going to get up there? And he tells Gronk to pick me up. And Gronk just like scoops me up from the crowd, like just picks me up and puts me there. And then me and my friends were over in this area, and I have videos of him just like dancing and pouring vodka, and everybody, he was just having the time of his life. I don't know if this retirement's going to stick. It's tough to believe that it's going to stick, but I loved his IG post. I love the story about him writing about playing in Tampa when he was in college. Like, he hasn't spent his NFL money. This isn't a money thing for him anymore. It's probably more about his body, his lifestyle, or what else he could be doing. Because let's face it, we want Gronk in our lives. So whatever network is going to play him, we're going to watch it, right? Whatever he wants to do, we're going to watch it. So he's dynamic, and he shouldn't be limited to just football. He should be taking this part of his healthy life and doing so many other things.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, no, we'll take a quick 2-second break for the podcast. We'll be right back. And we're back. See, I told you it was going to be 2 seconds. We'll edit that in a little bit, but real quickly, Sam, you know what I really loved, changing the topic a little bit, is your lead up to your birthday. And I was just looking back through your Instagram photos, and I was thinking about following you as you kept posting pictures, 50 days to 50 years old. And man, you've done a lot of really, really cool things with your life. As you were, putting those pictures together and posting those every day, were you able to take a step back and go, wow, look how far I've come?
No doubt. And, I was working with my team for social medias, putting them together. And it was funny because there were quite a few moments where my assistant was like, hey, I never knew you did that. Hey, I never knew you did this. Oh, hey. So it was really fun for me. And it was also a reminder of how well versed I've been in so many other things than what I say a mattress actress. Of course, that's what I'm going to be the most known for. But I've done a lot of other shit. And it was really cool to display that, to relive it. I mean, this was the best birthday I could have ever had. All of my girlfriends showed up the night of my birthday. We had an awesome dinner in a private private room at Say Less, New York City. I was in Vegas. I was in LA. Like, I saw all of my people and just really had this bonding. Like, I really just fucked off for like a month and just hung out with friends, went out to eat, laid at pools, just talking, post pandemic, reconnecting with people, the stories that we all have about like, what did you get into? What was your life like? That reconnection, and also reminding myself of how many beautiful relationships I have all over the US and all over the world from friendships I kindled from my travels in the industry.
You hugged a koala.
I did.
that,
And
yeah.
I had a kangaroo my very first time. So every time I go to Australia, I always go to every sanctuary because I'm like, it never gets old for me. And I remember my very first sanctuary trip in Brisbane in like 2013. I go up to these kangaroos and you can feed them. They give you like little things and they really want the snacks, right? So they're really aggressive. And as I was walking away, this kangaroo like put his hand on my hand and was like shaking my hand. And I was like, this isn't, I was like, I felt like I wanted to cry. I was like, I never even knew I'd see a kangaroo. And now one of them is holding my hand. But those were experiences that are irreplaceable. And, during the pandemic, I looked through all of my photos and I relabeled my hard drives. And that's how I came up with the 50 for 50. And it also reminded me of how fortunate I've been to be able to travel and have these experiences and how proud I am that I didn't sit in the hotel room. See, a lot of times I traveled with people that partied a lot at night. And so what would happen is they'd want to sleep during the day. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm going to get to come back to Greece. I don't know if I'm going to get back to Finland. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I don't want to waste my time in a hotel in another country hungover. It just made no sense to me. So a lot of excursions I would do on my own. And I was fine with that. I just knew I wanted to do them. And I'm so glad I did that. Like, I'm so glad I had the thought process of like, yeah, I'm not going to party with everybody. I'll have a little FOMO, but I'm going to have a great day tomorrow. And it's going to be more important.
Isn't it koalas that are just riddled with chlamydia?
You are correct. And so the very first sanctuary, it was a group trip put together by the show that we all got to go in this van. And it was summer and it was really hot. And I had on this like army green, like long sleeve jacket. And everybody in the van did no research, right? And they're like, well, why do you have on a jacket? I go, well, first of all, koalas carry a lot of chlamydia and they carry it from eating eucalyptus. And everybody's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And koalas also when you hold them, they believe that you're a tree. So it's their natural instinct to dig their nails inside your skin. The really last thing you want to do is have to go to a hospital and get a tetanus shot from a koala that could have given you chlamydia, right? and everybody was like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, before I take a trip, I get deep. I'm going to Switzerland this year, late October, and I've followed every single Switzerland Instagram, and I have my videographer going with me, and we're like listing all of the things that we're going to do and see, because we're going to stay for like a week after, and I cannot wait, but I'm shocked. Like, you're going to travel around the globe, and you didn't do any homework about the chlamydia and the koalas. I mean, this is a thing. If you're going to go back on set to shoot, you're going to have to get a new test. You're going to tell somebody you got chlamydia from a koala. No one's going to believe you.
Right,
no one's going to believe you.
But in all fairness, Lisa, you're probably safer hugging a koala than getting vodka shots from Gronk.
Yeah,
right?
True.
You probably should wear a jacket for that too.
True that. You are so correctly. You know what? When I would go to bars like that, I never drank because I never trusted how they washed the glasses.
Oh.
I'm a freak.
Yeah.
I am just a freak.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you do it. Go ahead.
Have you completed a fantasy football draft yet?
I will be doing a best ball draft next week. It's my favorite way to really prep for the draft season. Because, when you do those mock drafts, it seems like halfway through the mock, everybody leaves the room and you're waiting for the timer. And like the end of the draft is really such an important part. So I do some best ball drafts because you put, $5 in, you watch that team for the season. You might make a little money, you might not. You get to look at how you like your team.
Wait, what's best ball? I don't know what that is. What does that mean?
Best ball is a draft style where you set it and forget it. You draft your team and you draft a team that's about twice as large as a regular squad. You don't set your lineups. It gives you your best score every week. And you can do really well if you're really creative. But if you have a bunch of injuries, you're done because, you're competing against a league, but you never tinker with your lineup again. There's no waiver wire. So best balls are really fun for people who don't have the time. You have a new baby at home and you still want to be a part of a draft. Maybe you should do a best ball instead of doing a regular league. But I am up to 4 hours a day. This is the 4-hour-a-day month, 7 days a week for fantasy football studies. And then next month it goes up to 6 hours.
Man.
Wow,
that's something. Lisa, it's just great to reconnect with you, and we'll do so again sometime soon, hopefully. And as we get closer to football season, obviously, we'll get more and more involved. But we are actively searching for a sponsor to bring you in. You can do a TED Talk for them. You can do a book signing. You can do all kinds of things for them and teach them a lot. But we want to just spend some time with you in person. So great to talk to you. Thank you for giving us some time on the after party, and let's talk again soon, okay?
Thanks for having me. Everybody have a great day. And don't forget to pick up my book at my store, shoplisaann.com.
Awesome.
Bye, dear.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.
Bye. That's the real Lisa Ann.
It was.
The real one.
That was great.
Yeah. And that'll do it for this edition of the After Party, brought to you by Evans Transportation. Right, Zacho?
Yeah.
We're hanging up now. We're done.
Bye.
Bye. Love you guys.